Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiancé, Love in Paradise, Season 3, Episode 8, Mama Said Knock You Out. I'm gonna knock you out. All right, we'll cut it there because we're not trying to get a copyright, but that was the name of tonight's episode. Now, before I begin, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. There should be a subscribe button in your lower right-hand corner of your device or whatever you're watching on. And also, please don't forget to hit that like button and share the video to those who you know watch 90 Day Fiancé, whether it be before the 90 days, Love in Paradise, Love 90 Day Fiancé. The other way, we do it all over here on this channel. So thank you for watching. And also, don't forget to leave your comments down below because I like to know what you think about the episodes as well, to see what your opinion is. Maybe I missed something from the episode. Maybe, you can put your 2 cents in and be like, you know what? You were right. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to pick back up with Jessica and Juan. Now, last week's episode, Jessica and Juan told the boys, Dawson and Dayton, that Mommy and Juan are having a baby. And you know what? That did not go across well with the oldest, which was a little surprising because the oldest was the one that, seemed to be enjoying the trip more and wasn't really like being needy and whiny. That was the little brother. But Dayton was like, no, I don't want a baby, right? So now Jessica, Juan, I believe it's Megan and Juan's brother taking the kids to the zoo to, pick their spirits up and do something as a family. Because listen, they've only been in Colombia. I think that's where they are, right? For like 4 days. And so there's been a lot going on with the change of culture, the change of food, the change of scenery, and to be frank, Juan, okay? Because even though Jessica talks about Juan all the time, I mean, they don't know Juan. They may have FaceTimed him from time to time, but to be in person, yeah, somebody completely different. So while they're at the zoo, the boys are having a good time, right? Their spirits are up. They're liking the animals and everything. So then Juan decides to take the boys to the side and talk to them a little bit, right? He's saying, so I know it's been a big deal telling you guys that we're having a baby and we just want to know how you feel about it now, since a whole day has passed. And the little boys were like, oh, we're happy. But the youngest one was like, I'm a little anxious. Now, the older brother, Dayton, the one who was really upset from last week, he still had his head hung a little bit. He wasn't really looking at Juan. So you can tell this really is bothering him. But you know what he said? He said something very interesting and very profound for someone. He can't be older than like 10, right? And that's generous, like 8, 9, 10 in that age group. He said, you know what? It's a little bit too soon. And I was like, wow. I mean, really, he's right. It is too soon because again, he just met Juan. His little brother just met Juan. And to be honest, his mama just met Juan too. Okay. She met him on a cruise ship and she feels this is her forever love. And, everything just new with the ball rolling. And Juan says to the boys, he said, you know what? I understand because it's new for me too, but can you help me be a family? We could be a family together. Then when the baby comes, we could all do this together. And Juan acknowledged the boys' feelings, Dayton's feelings, right? Saying that, yes, it's new. And he was a little apprehensive himself. I'm like, wow. So Juan has opened up to Dayton and Dawson, right? But did he tell this to Jessica? Because if you've been here, from the beginning of the reviews and everything, see, Jessica met Juan on a cruise, right? And Juan is a bartender on a cruise. It gives me Love Boat vibes, like, from back in the day, old school. I know if you're not part of the generation, whatever. But the bartender, is the one serving you drinks. And I guess, if you tip the bartender enough money, you could get like top shelf stuff like that. And see, Juan is attractive, right? So I'm sure the way him and Jessica flirted and got together, hey, this is his job. I'm sure he's done it along the way before he met Jessica, and frankly, a little after Jessica too, right? So, anyways, after the zoo, the boys, I guess they calm down and everything, but they go back home, and Juan, clearly he's the chef, the cook, or whatever, right? Because I haven't seen Jessica assist in anything except for saying, oh, he doesn't have milk in his cereal kind of thing. So he gets the stuff to cook and he goes outside. And who follows him outside? Jessica's friend, Megan. Because see, it is Megan's duty to tell Juan that, listen, you're not going to hurt my girl no more. You know what I'm saying? Because we heard that you be talking to other ladies on this trip. Matter of fact, not only did they hear, some lady actually spoke to Jessica, got her phone number and called, said, oh yeah, I was together with Juan on the cruise. I'm thinking, how did this lady that Juan met on the cruise reach out to your now pregnant fiance? Like what was that going in the phone and figure out who was who and like, I'm with your man kind of thing. But anyways, Juan was like, you know what, Megan, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't with nobody. And he kind of gave her a sad eye like, you better sit down because this is not your business, right? So Megan said in confessional that not only did this lady reach out to her friend Jessica, that Megan did some digging and went on social media and found pictures of Juan with this family, the sisters, the mother, and whoever else on their social media pages and on the excursions they went on. Juan was living it big. So Megan also said that she even talked to the lady's sister, right? And the sister said, oh yeah, they were intimate. Okay. So here's the thing though. I wonder if the lady's sister know that she talked to her sister about her, right? Because when the info, who the info come from? You know what I'm saying? The sister or her? Anyways, again, Juan said, you know what? I'm not doing nothing. I could be trusted or whatever. But Megan said, listen, in her confessional yet again, I know that he's lying to me, but I'm gonna let it slide for right now because I'm not trying to ruin the trip for Jessica and the boys. So, but Juan better watch out. So, do you think that Jessica's friend Megan is a little bit too much in their business, or are you the type of friend that'd be like, "Hey, this is my girl. We're not doing this over here." Are you one of those friends? So, all right, let me know in the comments. Okay, so now let's move to Carlos and Valentine. So we see Carlos. He's at home. He's working out and things like that. He said it's been 2 days since him and Valentine broke up. Now, he says, even though the wedding is canceled, he feels, he's in pain. He was going to give up his whole entire life, his friends, his family, and everything for Valentine. But now it's all gone. The rest of his life is gone with Valentine, and he doesn't know where to go from here. Like, he knows he's got to pick up the pieces, but he's not sure how. He was hoping that, the happiest time of his life would be with that wedding with Valentine. And I'm thinking when he's saying this, I'm like, you know what? That sounds good. I know this is probably what you want going forward. However, the relationship that Carlos and Valentine have, or whether it's on or off, we'll have to see as the show continues to progress. But they have been going back and forth with arguing, breaking up. Even before Valentine came back out to Colombia, they had already broken up. They had been broken up for 3 months. But then they decided to, okay, well, we come together face to face. Maybe we could plan for the wedding and go forward. What? And then on top of that, Carlos, his friend Michelle, I guess, was kind of like in the middle, which made Valentine uncomfortable because they got in an argument about that. And Valentine was like, before, saying that if Carlos had the same emotional, feelings for Michelle, like connect, then that wasn't going to be an issue. But Carlos was saying, that's not the case. But so they broke up anyways, right? And just again, like they've been back and forth. So a long-term committed relationship, yeah, I didn't see that lasting too much longer if they did go forward, because like I said, they can't even stay on the same page for longer than 5 minutes because they're both, in their own words too, and you can see on camera, like they're both alpha males. I mean, they have a hard time even being intimate and what they're going to do, where they're going to go, what they're going to dress like, and things like that. So when we see Valentine, he's at the hotel. He's saying how lonely he is and how he feels lost as well. And so he calls his mother. And what I was going to say, though, too, with Carlos and Michelle, like, even though he wanted Michelle to come to the wedding and Valentine didn't, Carlos was okay with having all his people come to the wedding and Carlos accepting this. And my thing is this, too. If I knew personally that you two, meaning Carlos and Valentine, were back and forth as far as breaking up, things like that, I'm not booking a flight to Colombia. I'm not going to do that because I can't trust the fact to know that this is going to continue. And what happened? It didn't continue. So now jumping back to Valentine calling his mom on FaceTime, he tells her that they're not together. They broke up and the reasons why, them breaking up with Carlos and Michelle. But first, Valentine gives us the backstory again about his mother. He said that when he was 19 years old, his mother kicked him out on the streets because that's when he came out as being gay. But they've since mended their relationship and are in a much better place now, and feels like, they're best of friends and they could communicate much better. And so when Valentine was talking about Michelle, the mother was like, no, see, I agree with that. I agree with you, Valentine. She was, behind her son, saying that if this much effort was going into Michelle, then maybe Michelle would have caused problems for you going into your marriage, and I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that part because just based off Valentine being polyamorous, right, or polygamous, what he claimed that he is. And then Carlos has one friend that he just can't seem to get past that part. So I don't know. It's a whole big mess. But Valentine was happy. He spoke to his mother. Valentine was happy that his mother was on his side and understand where he was coming from with the wedding being off. So they're both heartbroken. And at the end of the conversation with Valentine and his mom, Valentine even said that he was hoping that maybe Carlos would find in his heart to come over and say sorry. And, maybe the wedding will be back on. And I'm thinking it's got to take more than that to be back on. I mean, I know you love him. They both love each other, but they just have a lot of issues that clearly needs to be put out there with a therapist, because this going back and forth and I'm sorry and brushing the real issue, whatever that is, under the rug, is not going to work out long term. So, but I wish them both best. Okay, so let's move to April and the other Valentine. That's from the Dominican Republic. So when we last saw April and her Valentine, she was at his family's house, his mom, his grandma, and his sister. I guess they all kind of like live in the same house, right? And April is a doctor and she's very well accomplished. She's a doctor. She's got a lawyer degree. She's got different master's degrees. She got all kinds of things. She's very accomplished, and actually, I don't want to say over accomplished, but she's over exceeded what most people would do in a lifetime as far as education goes and businesses, things like that. So Valentine doesn't speak English, right? The sister speaks a little broken English. The mom and the grandma don't speak English. I did hear the mother saying a word or two in English, but she's not fluent. Okay, so the family is expecting April to move to the Dominican and live with Valentine and the family in the family compound and just like live off of whatever Valentine has coming in. And she's like, no, okay. I'm a doctor. I'm a physician. I got things going on, and there's no way I can live off a couple $100s a month. And I'm like, April, didn't you already know what Valentine brings to the table? I'm serious. Like, April, do you know what he's brought to the table? But you know what I think it is? I've explained it before. I think that April, since she's accomplished with education, things like that, education has taken her a really long time to get to, even though she's on the younger side. I think she put all her focus into that and never really got around to dating. So the first person that was attracted to her eye that, she took a liking to, that was the one. Like it seems like she's lusting after Valentine. Matter of fact, he's 26 and she's 36. I believe there's a 10-year age difference. And she's lusting after this man. And, he still has to get it established. But at the same time, it's like, does she want to be married to him because of his looks or what he can bring to the table eventually? Because I don't think she wants to wait eventually, because Valentine does have his own fitness business, or he's a personal trainer, or maybe goes out, maybe not his own business, she does, but maybe he goes out to train people on the side hustle, like he does the gym and does something else on the side for extra money. But clearly it's not enough money for April. Okay, so when April made that comment, we don't see them again until this episode. Okay, so about 2 weeks passed, but in reality it's 2 days. So when we do see April again, it's the next morning after that meeting with the family. And Valentine has already gotten up, gone to work, or wherever he went, because April said he's not there. She didn't get a chance to talk to him about what had happened at the house. But today she's going to the family's house for a gathering of, dinner and everything else, so she can meet the rest of the family. All right, so now the April's made it to the family compound with the mom and the grandma. Okay, listen, yes, she's a doctor, right? Because that comes up all the time. But I mean, she has her can of Lysol. She's got surgical gloves or plastic gloves or whatever. She says she's a germaphobe. Okay, some people are. I get that. But you know what? You are, again, in Valentine's family's house, and it's coming across like you're acting like you're too good to be there. The family, the mother and the grandma is cooking plantains and different little things. Now they do have a jug of bleach. Okay, it's on the front, it says bleach. They take plantains, they pour the jug over the plantains, and they run it under the water. And April's like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die. Is that bleach? Well, the mother explains that yes, it says bleach, but inside the bottle is water. Now, I understand why she would be concerned about that, because you wonder, like, is the bottle rinsed out good and things like that, to be poison. But, April, look at your environment. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz reference. Like, you're not in Kansas anymore, or wherever she's from. You're in the Dominican Republic. And guess what? You're in a part of the Dominican Republic where things might not be as generous or easy to come by, and it's very obvious by the compound and the neighborhood. So her like, oh my gosh, I'm coming across as too good for this, isn't working. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very noticeable, and she's gonna get a real rude awakening, in my opinion, like real soon coming up. So anyways, so when she takes out the bottle of can of Lysol, she's like, oh, well, let me clean, right? So she hands it to the mother, and the mother gives it to the grandmother, and they spray their hands with it. And since she doesn't speak Spanish, she don't take out her phone translator app to say, no, that's not what you do. This is not, in time anyways, this is not what you do. It's not for your hands. Because they're like, wipe their hands as if it's like a hand sanitizer or something. And she's like, oh my gosh, just kind of like looking at them like, what are they doing? So when it's explained that it's, as something to sanitize the table or whatever you're using, you can get, what she says, April said something like, oh yeah, you got to rinse your hands because you can get contact dermatitis or an allergy or something. And the grandma is saying in Spanish, like, I don't even know what that is. All right. So let's just jump to, they're doing the food. They got the food ready to cook. It's going and everything. Now it's later. It's like 8 hours later. She says she's been at the house. Now Valentine's brother, his sister, and Valentine all come back to the house. There might be someone else, whatever. So they get their food and everything. And April says, you know what? It's been 8 hours and she hasn't used the restroom all day. I guess she put in her mind where she didn't have to use it because she already saw the surroundings. It's like, it's not clean enough for me. But 8 hours is a long time to hold it, right? So she asked Valentine to, hey, can you show me where the bathroom is? Because I got to go. So he takes her to the bathroom. And again, you're not in Kansas anymore. So he shows her you got to take the bucket, fill it up with water to flush the toilet. And she's like clutching her pearls. Like, I can't do that. And all of a sudden no longer has to use the bathroom because again, her germaphobe self is kicking in, right? But I'm thinking like, where's the Lysol and all that stuff that you can spray with and wipe down all the things that you brought to wipe down the toilet and everything else? Okay, because guess what? In the hotel, that's exactly what you did, right? Wipe stuff down. So what difference would it make here? So when she told Valentine she didn't have to use the bathroom no more, Valentine was like, you know what? She's coming across high and mighty. He said he was mega offended. And I was like, you know what, April? You're afraid of germs and you're probably afraid of the cavity creeps too. Old school reference, cavity creeps for your teeth, whatever. But you know what? It's just too much. So again, is it love with Valentine for someone she wants to marry? And guess what? Her family, she just told her two sisters before she left to come over because they didn't know either. Someone she wants to marry and possibly, come back to the DR because he said he wasn't moving to the United States. He wasn't ready just yet. And also, fun fact, Valentine's brother speaks English well enough to understand. I'm not saying perfect English is broken, but you can understand what he's saying. And April's like, I wonder why Valentine doesn't speak English because even the sister speaks broken English, right? She's like, oh my gosh, maybe he was being lazy. He lied to me. And I'm like, girl, your expectations of somebody isn't coming off well, and she is a mess. So maybe next time we see them, maybe Valentine will sit down and tell her what he really feels because he has just been insulted from the time April's got there and it just has not stopped. All right, last but not least, we have Lydia Scott and Nico. Okay, it's the next morning after Scott broke up with Lydia, and Lydia says she's hurt and everything has gone wrong. She's embarrassed. She said she's been with Scott for over a year, and Lydia's actually sitting there with tears coming out of her eyes, emotional, right? Now, Lydia says she's surprised with everything. Basically, why would Scott waste his time for over a year if he's just going to jump ship to go with his ex-girlfriend who is 29 years old from Colombia, who he said he hadn't heard from in months, but called 2 weeks before he came out to the Dominican Republic to see Lydia? Yeah, like why even continue on with her, right? Because Lydia said she knows that she's, 50 or 50 plus, really. She can't compete with a 29-year-old lady. And I'm thinking, it's not even about competing. It's about preference, what you want. And clearly Scott's preference, even though he says he's been with all ages, no. His preference is someone younger. And it just is what it is. But Lydia says it feels like a betrayal, but she's got to be a strong woman and pick herself up and face things as they come along. Now, when we see Scott, he's working out. He's on the treadmill. He said he knows it's horrible that he broke her heart and everything. But you know what? He got tired of using the translator apps and the phones and the language barrier, and just the energy was off even from day one. Scott said he couldn't take it no more. Okay. And you know what? I'm not on team anybody. And I will tip the hat just a little bit to Lydia's side on this because Scott was out of line when it came to this. I mean, if you knew you were talking to somebody else who ghosted you, yes, you said he talked to her for 2 years, but you were ghosted. And 2 weeks later, before you came to the Dominican, you're like, oh, well, let's see where it goes. That's not acting mature at all for Scott. Any age, but since we're talking about Scott, that is not mature at all. So that just goes to show that you are running behind a young lady. But anyways, Scott just said that he's conflicted about where things would go with this lady, but he was willing to try because, again, no energy, no connection from Lydia. And honestly, it wasn't in the beginning. It was just off. Lydia she didn't seem like she was interested And then Scott, in the beginning, when he first got there, seemed like he was trying, but when that phone couldn't work and he had to ask production to translate, that's when things really took a turn, in my opinion. So Scott goes on to say that he received a text from Lydia because she's still at the hotel just to talk, for closure. And here's a quote from Mel Robbins. And I'm trying to get word for word, but it goes something like this. You got closure. I mean, don't look for closure when you received it when you were disrespected, meaning you already got closure. Like, what else are you needing? That's my translation from it. So Scott said he owed it to Lydia, so he's going to go talk to her. So when Scott and Lydia go outside to talk, Lydia said, you know what? She weren't using no phone either this time. She wanted a real translator. So here comes production yet again to translate, right? And so Lydia said, listen, this is going to be a little long-winded, so be ready. So as Lydia sits down to talk, she says, you're a liar, you were disrespectful, and no self-respecting man would do this to a woman, to a lady. And Lydia is going off, right? She is upset. And granted, I get it, right? So then Scott says, you know what? He was just trying to be honest, to tell the truth, and he wasn't trying to break her heart. And looky. As soon as he said that, here comes Nicole with her arms crossed. She comes, she's like, one moment, please. One moment. So she gets to talking to Scott, and you know what? She says, Scott, you are a liar. She said that in confession, Nicole, crying, she said her mother, all she wanted is love. She said first it was her father, and now Scott. She just wants to be loved. She needs a good man to be loved. That's it. That's all. You know what? Here's the thing. And unfortunately, because we've seen Lydia and Nicole from the show they were on previously, the Family Chantel, how things went down. I understand the message that Nicole was trying to say about her mom. She's looking for love. Scott's a liar. We asked you, was there anyone else? You said no, and all this and that. It just comes across like the right message, but the wrong person to deliver the message. So I guess in a way, maybe, is it just me? I mean, tell me in the comments. I'm a little jaded when it comes to that, but right message, wrong person delivering the message. But you know what? Nicole wasn't wrong, though, when she was talking. She was saying that, I asked you, like I said, again, were you talking to X? Were you communicating? You looked at me. You said, no, you weren't. But guess what else Nicole said? She said, you know what? You know the reason why somebody young would want you? Because you pay for pleasure. That's it. She goes, you know how I know? Because I'm young. That's how I know. You pay for pleasure. And Scott kind of looked at her like, you think I pay for pleasure? She said, yes, I do. And I'm like, okay, tell it then. I think that right there struck a nerve with Scott, because then right after that, oh yeah, Scott started to blow up because the conversation went on for a while. Scott blew up. He's like, you know what? Get my kids out here to defend me. She's going to do this. Get them out here. I don't need this. And it was just a big to do. And Scott even said, well, what if I was Alejandro? Nicole said, this is not about Alejandro. This is about you. I said, because I do remember before Scott came to Dominican Republic, some kind of way, somehow, maybe Scott is from the same or similar area where Nicole's ex-boyfriend, fiance, or whoever he was, that Lydia called a charlatan. Okay, because she was not here for Alejandro. They maybe worked out together, or was in the same maybe weightlifting group. I don't know. They ran in the same circles. But again, guess what? Alejandro is like late 20s, early 30s too. So maybe Scott is running around with the youngsters. And then Scott's mom, when we first saw Scott in the beginning, said that this relationship with Lydia wouldn't necessarily work out because Scott likes him young. Well, apparently mom was right about that, because 29, he's 50. That's young. So, but yeah, it was a mess. And Nicole came up to get her mom and tell her mom, let's go. You don't need this nonsense, and put Scott in his place because you're a liar. You're a bad man. You're a liar. Okay. So, anyways, that was the end of the episode. Now, next week, we're going to have Anna and Matthew. And I guess it's the end of Carnival, or they taking a break because, Matthew in his first, what was the Peter Pan outfit, and then he went to the Big Bad Wolf fifth grade stage play outfit. Okay. They're talking around the pool, and he's asking Anna about her wanting to come to the United States because, remember, that's his secret, right? His secret is her visa has been delayed up to maybe 2 years. He's afraid to tell her. And I'm like, okay, like, it's got to be more than this because otherwise you could have told her and been back home. But Anna said it is her lifelong dream to be in America. Now, in confessional, Matthew says, oh, I didn't realize it was her lifelong dream to come to America. So maybe Matthew feels that Anna is maybe using him to get to America. We'll have to see. And then also Jessica and Juan. Jessica's nervous about Juan having to go back to work on the cruise ship. She's reminding Juan that, you have me, the kids, and this baby coming. So I'm going to need you to be on these P's and Q's. And matter of fact, when you coming to be back with me and the baby, but first he's got to get the visa to come, right? Or does he have a passport to come back and forth? I don't know. I guess we'll find out real soon. And then we have Everton and Jordan. Remember, Jordan got a call saying like, is Everton your man? Or at least you thought he was. Yeah, that couple. Well, Everton has finally taken Jordan to meet his family. And so one of his family members says, so are they getting married? And Everton's answer is not right now. Okay. And Jordan is pissed. I think Jordan is getting played. Just my opinion. Like, why did she sign over a power of attorney? Everton knows what he's doing, but I still want to know who was on that phone call. That's what I really want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. And then finally, we have Carlos meet with his friend Michelle. We finally get to see the infamous Michelle to talk, and Carlos is going to talk to her about the reason why he's not getting married to Valentine, and that possibly she could have been the main reason why. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This was tonight's episode of 90 Day Fiancé, Love in Paradise, Season 3, Episode 8. Mama said knock you out. What do you think about Jessica and Juan? Do you think Juan did a good thing by sitting down with the kids to explain that, we're going to be a family now and you don't have to worry. Help you pretty much be together as a family, and we can all learn together and live happily ever after together, selling the dream. What you think about Carlos and Valentine? Valentine talking to his mom about Carlos and the reason why they're not getting married. And what about April and her Valentine in the DR? Do you think April was out of line? Do you think she's being just like too high and mighty, with everything? And do you think Valentine is going to break it off because he is tired of April coming across like she is Miss Too Good? And what do you think about Lydia Scott Nicole? Did Scott do Lydia wrong? Did she deserve to be treated that way? And did Nicole, was she right for defending her mom? So let me know in the comments. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much again for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the like button, leave your comments so I know what you thought about the video. And until next time, everyone, thank you again for watching. Live simply, be grateful.